Hey, it's TDA and welcome to a guide on how to make setting up your central storage a lot more efficient. Now before we get started I need to define what I mean by central storage. Although it's very tempting to build a single massive storage facility like this, which is very cool, honestly it's not very practical. First of all, it might not be anywhere near where you want to build new stuff, so that is a lot of going back and forth to get materials. And in order for it to actually do its job, you'll also need to bring back any new items you built elsewhere all the way back to this central location somehow. In short, very cool, but not very efficient. So instead what I propose is to build a lot of smaller central storage units, and in order to make that work, you'll need a bus, which I recently made a video about on how to make that efficiently, so go watch that after this if you haven't seen it yet. Anyway, central storage. Honestly, there is no time too early to start your first storage unit. Once you have a bus, all you need to do is stack up some containers, add in a few splitters, and you're pretty much good to go. This design I have over here actually fits easily onto a blueprint, and it will take half of everything on your bus into storage, or all of it once your bus fills up. But of course, where the real efficient storage comes in is when you get access to smart splitters. A very simple blueprint design could be something like this, where you feed the storage from a single belt and the splitters automatically sort all the items into their respective boxes. If you use a design like this, don't forget to set the splitter to filter the items towards the storage and have the main line set to overflow. Overflow is the setting you want for the main line because that ensures the items that you are filtering will also pass through if the storage unit it was supposed to go into is already full. That also means you'll need to set up a sink at the end of the line for that overflow of full storage units to go into. This also happens to be the ideal place for a sink because those can be pretty power hungry early on if you place multiple of them, and this ensures you can cover all your excess production with a minimal number of sinks. In fact, especially early on, you're probably only going to need one for all the production that you have overflowing. Dressing this design up a bit and putting it in the blueprint is also a very easy way to make a nice little storage facility that is extremely consistent in design, easy to place down, and if you want to get really efficient you can even already set up all the filters and labeling in advance. Doesn't really get much easier than this, but we're still missing a vital part to make this really efficient. Because as you keep expanding, you'll probably want a second, third, and maybe 10th location for storage. Pretty much every time you expand your factory significantly into a new direction, I recommend you first build your bus there, put down a central storage, and in this way ensure you have all the materials you're going to need right on hand there where you're actually building your facility. No reason anymore to go back and forth between some location and where you're currently building. Now, in order to make that work, you'll need an easy way to connect this storage to your bus. And this is where blueprints become a massive time saver. As I showed in my previous video, building a bus with blueprints is very efficient, but if you make a specific section to offload all resources at will, building a new storage location only takes mere minutes. So let me walk you through the essentials. You'll start with a basic pillar design like this. Now I'm going to be building this connected to the bus so you can see how it works, but make sure you build it in the blueprint designer so you only have to do it once. You'll want to have a smart splitter for each belt, offset like I'm showing here. It depends a little bit on how you have your belts spaced, but the way I've done it over here, I only need to offset the middle row of splitters a little in order to cover everything without clipping. Adding in the lifts like this makes it look very tidy. I've put the main row of belts below floors while the others will go through the sides or the roof, and you will have to adjust this to your own design if needed, but the idea is that all lifts aim towards the same side. Since I only have 3 belts per line, I can easily combine these into a single belt to ensure a good mix of items reaching the storage. Doing this gives me an offloading tower I can place with a single button press wherever I need it on my bus. Now, the main purpose of this is to offload all belts into the storage, but you could also use a similar setup for offloading anything towards a production facility as well. And if you want, simply remove the lifts that you don't need. Now, here's the important part. The main thing that makes this setup really strong is that you set your splitters to only offload the overflow, which basically ensures that your storage won't hamper your production capabilities later on, and only items get stored that aren't needed elsewhere. This also means that your items will always go to the storage unit near the end of your bus first, which is most likely where you are building your new factories. You may need a second blueprint to hook all of this up to a single belt or two, or you can simply connect this manually to your storage setup. But once you have this, it literally takes only a minute or two to set up a completely new storage unit at the end of your bus. And assuming you are using your bus like I recommended in my previous video, so basically like a lifeline through your factory expansion, this storage unit will always have all the items that you're currently carrying on your bus in it. If you found this video useful, I would appreciate it if you give it a like, as it helps others find it as well. Don't forget to subscribe for more, and I hope to catch you in the next one.